Hello everyone, it's Dr. Wolfe here, and in this video I'm going to be introducing providing citations, so going along with that, paraphrasing, making a works cited page, and citing your sources within whatever you're communicating. So just like when you evaluate an article and you're trying to say like, hey, is this credible? Like, do they back it up with sources? You need to be doing the same thing. What you need to be showing that your stuff is credible too. So you need to be citing your sources. And it's also important just from this lens of plagiarism. So plagiarism, the practice of taking someone else's work or ideas and saying, hey, these are mine. You could totally take sources from other places, but you need to make sure that you give them credit. So in this video, we're going to be looking at paraphrasing, creating a works cited page, and citing within written communication. So the first one is paraphrasing. And this is how you defeat plagiarism. It's taking information from a source and putting it in your own words. And honestly, guys, I think this really helps in terms of understanding the material, because when you have to put it in your own words, now you're thinking about it, you've generated it yourself. All right, so here's an example. I got this is noticed in quotes. This is from this source from the National Institute of Health. What is diabetes? And if we read this right here, diabetes is a disease that occurs when your blood glucose, also called blood sugar, is too high. Blood glucose is your main source of energy and comes from the food you eat. Insulin, a hormone made by the pancreas, helps glucose from the food get into your cells to be used for energy. Sometimes your body doesn't make enough food or any insulin or doesn't use insulin as well. Glucose then stays in your blood and doesn't reach your cells. Okay, so what I want to do is I like that idea in terms of what insulin does. I'm going to put it in my own words. Notice some of this I even kind of tripped up on saying, like, we could maybe put this even in better wording too. All right, this is what I would say, taking all of this in my own words. Diabetes is a disease where your blood glucose levels are too high because you don't make insulin or use it well, preventing glucose from getting into your cells. So this would be an example of paraphrasing. Notice too that I was able to kind of take a little bit something more complicated and simplify it. To tell you the truth, I think my sentence communicates the main concept a little bit more clearly. All right, so that's paraphrasing. All right, and let's say we got it from some source. We need to make sure, like, hey, let's say I got this, the information I got from my whatever I'm communicating. You're going to communicate it with a works cited page at the very end of whatever you're communicating. So a works cited page would look like this, right? Maybe it could be at the end of a paper. It could be in a YouTube video, show more. It could be just kind of like a little bit at the bottom of like a poster or infographic, a works cited page that looks like this. All right, and so here are my sources. Diabetes Basics, published in 2022 from the publisher Centers of Disease Control. Here's the link if I want to access it. Here's an article written by this person, Raz Guy. How worried should you be about sugar, right? The link right there. So that's what a works cited page looks like. But how do you actually make these citations, all right? Don't overcomplicate it. Always use this formula. And there's really just four main parts. The name of the author, title of the media, the year, the publication, I guess 5 parts, and then the URL, all right? Always just use this format, all right? So here's an example. Last name, let's say it's by me, right? Wolfe, Thomas, all right? That's the first part. The title of the media, all right? Maybe I wrote something about facts about cancer. The year, I published it, first semester, 2022. And then the publication, maybe it was Stevenson High School Magazine, Teacher Magazine, or something like that, right? And then here's the URL, and I just kind of made up a URL right here. But notice all I'm doing is I'm just following this format. That's it, all right? That's how you make a citation, and then you just kind of put them together right here. One other thing to notice is that when you do make your cited page, notice that they go in alphabetical order, all right? Now, what if, and this will happen, you can't find the author, like the year's not there, right? We've seen that before when looking at sources, all right? You just still go in the same order and you skip something if it's not there. So for instance, let's say we have the same source as above, but there was no author. Like it didn't say that I wrote it. So we would be like, okay, there's no author, so I'm just going to go to the next thing, the title of the media. All right, so facts about cancer, the year, the publisher, Stevenson High School, all right, and then the URL. And that's it, right? So there are going to be times where some things are going to be missing, right? And you just skip and you keep on fitting in what you can, all right? So that's our works cited page. All right, now this is at the very end, but sometimes you'll say something in your whatever you're communicating, right? Like some stat, like 80% of this, right? Yada, yada, yada. Well, where did that come from? You want to make sure that you're citing things within, all right? So here's an example from the exemplar for the diabetes communicating information. And this is my paragraph about what diabetes is. So notice in bold right here, I'm giving you some information, and then, hey, I got this information from this source. And then I give you some more information, and notice it's multiple sentences. And at the very end, it's like, hey, just to let you know, I got this information from this site right here. All right, so those are the citations within what you're communicating. All right, so let's look at an example. What's the template for this? All right, so you look at your citation that you've already made, and it's always just the last name of the author and the year. Well, Dr. Wolfe, before, sometimes you don't have the author. So if that's the case, if there's no author, title of the media, and then the year. That's it. All right. So let's say that here's my citation in my Works Cited page at the very end, and then I want to cite it within whatever I'm writing. All right. And so maybe this is what I'm paraphrasing this. Diabetes is a disease, yada, yada, yada. And I got this information from this source. So again, there's no author here. So the title of the media and then the year. What is diabetes? I should have a question mark there. And then the year, 2022. And that's it. It's just saying, hey, like all the stuff I'm telling you, it's in my own words, but I did get this information from the source if you wanted to fact check me. All right. So let's look at an example. I want you to try this out. So pause this when you can. Once I go over the directions. So here's the citation, Wolfe, Tommy, 2022, crazy cool, awesome science stuff, URL. All right. And then here's a paragraph that's paraphrased from this source from me. All right. So what I want you to do is, what would you put in parentheses right after this saying like, hey, here's some cool stuff I learned, and this is from this source. All right. How would you do it? So pause the video now, try it out. When you're ready, unpause it. All right. So hopefully you've tried it out. I'm looking at the source, last name and the year. Last name and the year. So Wolfe 2022. And boom, that's it. That's how you cite your sources. That's how you create a works cited page. That's how you paraphrase. Thanks for watching.